Hello, welcome to Industry Insights, part of our Property Matters show. Thanks to Lucy Waters this morning, who's MD of Aria Finance, for coming along and giving her view of the property finance market.
Morning.
Well, morning, welcome to you. Lucy, let's start off. We've got such volatility going on at the moment, haven't we, with interest rates, borrowing rates, all sorts of things. Where are we?
Yeah, so we've been through a period of instability caused by the geopolitical landscape, and now we've got domestic issues which we're contending with. So it's been a bit of a double whammy, unfortunately, in that we were already dealing with fairly persistent higher interest rates caused by the swap rate market and what's going on in the Middle East. But now we're in a situation where the market has become spooked by what's happening with Keir Starmer and the potential of new leadership, etc., and the outlook for the UK economy, which has led to rising gilt prices and a knock-on impact to swap rates. So we haven't seen a huge rush of rate rises in the market just yet, but we all know that if things don't settle fairly quickly, that is what we would expect to see next.
And what's this going to do to the market? I mean, is it making life difficult for developers to develop? In other words, housing stock being limited?
It really is. I think that problem has been very much there for the last 12 months plus. I think we've got land values are still not coming off in the way that they need to enable developers to make the numbers stack. You've got the Gateway 2 issue, which we've talked about before, which is causing big issues predominantly in and around London and building flats and
big
towers.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then on top of that, there's been some research that's come out this week about off-plan sales. So where the market slowed down generally and units aren't selling as well, what we're seeing is off-plan sales, which developers really rely on in order to reduce their holding costs and to offload their stock a bit quicker. The stat is something like in 2016, 50% of sales would be off-plan for these bigger units and bigger blocks of units in and around London, etc. And now it's at something like 30%. So that really does have quite big implications for developers. So you've got higher interest rates, land values aren't where they need to be, you've got the gateway issues, and then the fact that the resales aren't there. All the pinch points are making it really challenging for developers in certain areas for certain types of asset classes.
I mean, I think it's making it difficult for everybody. I mean, you're talking to somebody here who made my living from doing, off-plan sales for many years, and it was very successful. There's a very simple rule. You as a developer, you'd say to your bank, well, can we have some money up front? And they'd say, well, to get your funding, you go and sell 20%, 30% off plan, and we'll look at funding your development. But of course, these days, for a young person in particular, to buy off plan and make a prediction of what he's going to be able to afford 2, 3, 4 years later on when the development's complete, very difficult, very dangerous.
Yeah, and affordability is really tight as it is.
Yeah.
So one of the big challenges as well in the market is that first-time buyers, the number of products available has gone backwards, especially with the lower deposit products. So that obviously you can see how the circle completes. You've got the developers that's building the stock, but they're relying on the end user having the affordability and the deposits and the mortgage availability to enable them to buy the units. And unfortunately, the market has slowed down on all accounts.
If we get over this geopolitical issue and the conflicts die down, shall we put it that way, do you think that we'll get back on a downward path for interest rates?
I think the market is broadly positive about that being the longer term trajectory. I think what feels really uncertain at the moment is the short to medium term, because you've got these two things which are fairly acute in the market causing the knock-on effect to now, but it can change so quickly and so dramatically, in the same way that we saw the interest rates spike so quickly from where they were at the beginning of the year. There is still some hope and optimism that might happen, albeit I think the predictions are stretching out for how long it might take for
Yeah.
that to start to happen.
Yeah. Do you know, I think overall, Lucy, it's such a shame because with, shall we say, rather depressed prices at the moment in the property market, it's probably an ideal time for young first-timers to be buying. But if the cheaper finance and lower deposits isn't there for them, it's futile, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Such a shame, because I think this is an opportunity that could benefit the young people of the UK. But there we are, that's life.
Cool.
Lucy, thank you very much for coming in today and sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you for watching. I'm Stephen Galpin. You've been watching Industry Insights, part of our Property Matters series. Look forward to seeing you again next time.